Well, hello there. Today we're going to do a first impressions video. It's been a little bit since we've done that. The last time was 2 new Parfums de Marly fragrances. Well, here, bust this bad boy open for the first time. It is the new fragrance from Happyland Studio called Cripple Creek. I have not looked at the notes. I don't know what the hell it's supposed to smell like or the inspiration. We're going to check it out together. Stay tuned. Alright, so checking out this label, kind of has a cowboy hat going. So we have a Cripple Creek that's an old casino town 2 hours, hour and a half away from me. I doubt that's the inspiration for EJ, so I guess I'll have to ask him later, but I mean, it's so strong I can smell it through the atomizer. I haven't sprayed it yet, but interesting. There's a little bit of a boozy, soft, pillowy type of smell. That's don't need much, as you can see. Just that little bit did all of that to my hand. It's very boozy, very boozy, musky. And a lot of wood, but it doesn't smell like sandalwood. It's not creamy. It doesn't have that edge of cedar, but it's distinctively wood. There's a wood smell. It's a boozy, woody, musky fragrance. Almost has this slight marshmallowy feel to it, as strange as that sounds. This is a not so serious boozy fragrance. Some boozy fragrances just beg you to dress them up. This smells like a nice t-shirt or, you know, Oxford or hell, a flannel, something like that. It's potent, but there's this certain boozy note. It doesn't smell like cognac. It could be rum, but it definitely doesn't smell like cognac. It doesn't have that sweetness of cognac. Cognac's very distinctive in a fragrance. This has got something going on here. Okay. This is mega boozy, though. If you like boozy fragrances, EJ's got you covered, apparently. This is mega boozy. Really like the label, though. There's the hat with the wood panel backdrop. It always has creativity on these labels. It's always something creative. Yeah, there's a sweetness coming in, but it's not, like I said, I want to say it's maybe a rum type of booziness here. You know, whiskey accord of some sort. Whiskey would still be a little bit sweeter. It could be whiskey. Cognac's distinctively much more sweeter than this. Much sweeter. Sorry, not much more sweeter. That's not an actual phrase. Trying to figure out what it is before, because we're going to pull the notes up and we're going to take a look and see what I get from it. But it's extremely boozy and musky. There's a specific woody smell to it that doesn't smell like cedar or sandalwood, so there's some kind of wood here. It doesn't have a smoky nuance to it, so I'm going to say Gaiac wood's out the question, because it would have a bit of a taric smoky nuance if it was Gaiac wood. I want to say it's got a little bit of the, like that ambergris smell that Shameless has, because ambergris really stands out in Shameless, but with fresher notes, it's easier to pick the ambergris out, I find, whereas I feel like that's providing a freshness now that it's starting to settle down a little bit on my hand. Final answer, I think it's got a strong boozy note, there's no denying that. There's a strong wood of some sort that's a little different. It's very musky, and I want to say there's like, it's either some amberwood or some ambergris, because the amberwood would make sense because it's got an ambery, woody smell. But ambergris would make sense too because it's got a little bit of a freshness. So I don't know. Let me put this bottle down. grab my phone, and let's pull it up, shall we? .com. Okay, shop, Cripple Creek. There we go, new release. Okay, here we go. Inspired by the bluegrass standard of the same name, as well as the song Up on Cripple Creek by the band. Cripple Creek is meant to harken back to a time and state of mind that were worry-free, simple, and relaxed. That makes sense, because this is a casual, laid-back, boozy fragrance, like I said a minute ago. That makes absolute sense. So the story he's trying to tell, this fragrance seems to fit pretty well. Whew. All right, so here we go. A place worth revisiting over and over again. Cripple Creek is a blend of bourbon. There's our boozy note. I was thinking it might have been whiskey or rum, but it's definitely not cognac. Bourbon, ambrette. Ambrette's, that might be that marshmallowy feel that I was talking about, because that's a softer musk. So that could be it. Oak, amber, musk, caramel, ambergris, a dash of lime and rose. So I don't get any lime and rose. I don't really get any caramel. There's some sweetness. It could be maybe as it dries, maybe I'll get more caramel, but no, I don't get caramel. But the bourbon, the ambrette, the oak, the amber, the musk, and the ambergris, I get all of that. That all stands out. So I was pretty accurate. Not 100% accurate. I mean, it's pretty damn hard to be 100% accurate, but it's a lot of bourbon. Warm whiskey feel, and some of the warmth is definitely that amber. Like I said, it kind of had an amberwood feel, but could be ambergris. So it turns out it's amber and ambergris. There you go. And that wood is oak. So that makes sense, because certain fragrances, the oak kind of turns me off, like Cremo bourbon and oak. But obviously this is a night and day difference in quality. But it's definitely got a strong muskiness. If I had to pick out the two main accords, I would go boozy musky. Boozy musky warm. That's the way I would go. Boozy musky amber. Boozy musky warm amber. But it's laid back. It's not a serious, refined, have to dress it up type of scent. This is much more laid back. The booziness is toning down. It's getting thicker. That's probably the caramel. It's thicker. It's still pretty sweet, but not really sweet at the same time. It's that same level of sweetness that the opening had. So that can make sense for the caramel, because it's got a thick appeal. It smells thick. That could be the ambrette kind of adding to that. This is lovely. This is a damn good release. I gotta say, EJ has been just one after another with his releases. This is another one that if you're looking for a great boozy fragrance that doesn't smell like others, you might want to get your nose on this one and get a sample. Let's put that phone down. It's worth trying. It's worth trying. Should you just jump on a full bottle? That's up to you. But I would definitely say get a sample. You can get a sample pack and try some specific fragrances, or you can get a sample pack of the entire house's offering. And I would definitely immediately put this in the top 10 from the house. I don't know if it would jump into the top 5, but it is pretty damn nice. Shameless, Paisley Sky, Diabolique, stuff like that is still my favorites. Ooh, but this is close. This is close. With some time and with some wear, who knows exactly where it would fall, but I can tell you right now it's definitely in the top 10 from the house. Probably closer to that top 7. Because it's such a damn good boozy note. He used a lot of bourbon here. He really did. A lot of bourbon. I'm going to have to ask him what the percentage is on this bourbon oil that he used, because it's a higher leaning percentage than I'm even thinking, probably. Because it's a lot. It is a lot. But it doesn't smell like I'm just sitting here taking shots of bourbon at the same time. Very strange. The balance is really well done here. EJ, I'm sure you'll see this. You did it again. Another great release, guys. Get a sample and try this one. See if it's for you. It's very, very boozy, musky, and warm. If any of that sounds good to you, there's sweetness, but it's not a super sweet fragrance. So don't think when you hear caramel and you hear me talking about a thickness and a sweetness that it's super sweet. I would put the sweetness somewhere in the mid-level of the accords here. It's not the main accord. The booze definitely is. And until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. How many of you have already gotten your hands on this? How many of you already ordered it? You're waiting on it to show up? If you've already gotten it, what do you think about it? Definitely put it down in the comments. But as per usual with Happyland, worthy of a sample. EJ doesn't put out anything that's a bad fragrance. You know, I gotta say, he definitely did his thing again, and it's a nice departure from the other things he's done. He's done a very spicy fragrance recently. He's done a very sweet gourmand with Homme for the Holidays Decaf Edition, and he's done a super fresh, versatile, mass appealing fragrance, believe it or not, with Shameless, which is my favorite. And this is definitely a very nice boozy and musky scent. It's worthy of a sample. Get your nose on this one if you've yet. Until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on Cripple Creek from Happyland Studio and you give it a spray now, there's a chance you might thank me later. Have a good one, guys.